as we go through our life, we learn hopefully healthy habits, things that are going to serve us well and help us be healthy adults functioning at a high level as we move through our life. Part of the challenge is we somehow seem to be surrounded by this mindset that indicates that we should always be operating on the same level all the time with no change or no adjustments for how we go through our life cycle. And it turns out that when we hit midlife, there are some things that we can do to make midlife even better and that will help us have the most vibrant, healthy life that we can. And so today I am just thrilled to be talking to a dear friend and a wonderful colleague. Her name is Holly Morello. She's a functional nutrition therapy practitioner. She's an athlete, and she's also a Reiki master. Holly helps women joyfully embrace their midlife transition as the best years of their life. And she empowers them to nourish mind, body, and spirit with customized nutritional therapy, as well as mindset tools to help them take action. Holly, thank you so much for being here.
Oh gosh, I'm so excited to be here. I just love being around you. So this is like really good energy to start off April, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I love the work that you do because I think so many times we're surrounded by this youth obsessed message that really forgets there is so much wisdom, body wisdom, spirit wisdom, mind and emotional balance that comes into life as we grow and learn. And I think we need to embrace that, and we need to be more willing to accept that moving forward and learn to take the best that we can from this phase of our lives.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely agree with that. And I'm embracing for sure the aging process and looking at what is magical about it. What's awesome? What can I do now that I couldn't do before? And that really drives me. And it's the transition that we go through as we're approaching menopause, which I didn't know when I was approaching menopause, like all these bad things were happening to me. No doctor ever said, oh, maybe you're going into menopause. And all
Everybody
these weird
gets
things.
all excited at the beginning of that process of our lives, and nobody has anything to share about that transition. Yeah.
So I was just trying to figure out like how to feel better, and because I didn't know what was happening. And when I finally understood that I was actually going through menopause, I was actually relieved that something major wasn't wrong with me. And I was like, okay, I can do something about this. And then I took a deep dive into doing all the things to help transition, and and to really switch my mindset on being grateful for what is to come and what I've learned along the way, all the hard lessons in life, which now I embrace as wisdom.
And I think that's so important. I so often have conversations with friends, with colleagues, with clients. There is this wisdom and this sense of peace that comes to us as we move through our life. When I look at where I am now and where I was 30 years ago, and there's a huge difference. And when we embrace that, I think that's where that wise woman phase is beginning. And we need to embrace that for ourselves as well as for those around us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know one of the things you said is we need to look at how we do things and not do the same thing over and over again, because that's what I kept trying to do. Like I kept getting back, like I want to get back to my old self, but I realized, wait a minute, there's this new self that actually can be better than the old self. I don't have to be back to that other self. And it took me a while. I learned the hard lessons. I fall down a bunch of times and have to get back up. But I think what it comes down to is what I really come to understand and embrace. And I feel like I don't know, there's just like this piece about
Mm.
learning how to do things smarter versus harder. I don't know if that's like the best way to describe it, but for sure it's not, yeah, doing things differently and having self-compassion.
Mm.
And I think that's one of the biggest things I try to get to try to help my clients with. And I love some of the tools that you have created in with your Beyond Meditation book and things like that to help cultivate that self-compassion, because I think
Mm.
that's where I have these nutrition plans and I talk about appropriate movement and how to fuel your body right. And I talk about different supplements we can use and sleep hygiene and all that. But when it really comes down to it, a lot of these people, a lot of women struggle with embracing this change and having self-compassion. They dwell on what's not right versus what can be and what is going well. And so I think that your books to help cultivate the self-compassion is so important. And that's one of the things that I'm really trying to incorporate more into my programs, because I find like that is like a big missing piece in being able to move forward and embracing this like second half of our lives that can be just amazing, because there's so many things that we don't have to do anymore that we can't. Now we have things we can do. And I want to empower women with all these different tools so they have the strength and the mind, the cognition, they have the muscles and they have the strong bones. And so they're able to be independent and be able to do all the things that they want to do and play with their grandchildren or climb mountains or whatever it is. But it definitely starts with like respecting oneself and having compassion for oneself and realizing that, you know, you're worthy and that you are worth all this work. And
Yeah. And
there's
I
so much to look
apologize
forward
for one of the things that I wanted to ask you. You talked about staying physically active, being able to run around after your grandkids. And I will say, so I have grandkids now, and I do like to play, but it's at a different level than it was when the kids were little. So what are some of the strategies that you encourage people to do for movement, to stay strong, to stay flexible, to stay active?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I think when it's really different for us in our age, when we're like in the 50s and beyond, or maybe even late 40s and beyond, than what we did before, or even what is established for the whole population. A lot of times is based on young men. But what is so important for us as we age is because our muscles really start to decline actually after like from 30 or actually even 25 on. And
Wow.
it's pretty significant, like a 3 to 8% per decade after the age of 30. And then a decline after that. And then it's even a higher rate after age 60. So what is so important, there's two things that are really important, is not only weight training, and it doesn't have to be like super scary. You're not going to turn into a bodybuilder type weight training, but you can work out like a full body workout twice a week and for less than an hour, like 30 minutes to 45 minutes or something like that, and get enough of the muscle protein synthesis to be able to maintain your muscle and build your muscle. And along with that is also proper fueling and nutrition and getting adequate protein in order to support that muscle development and also the repair and recovery that we need. So we need a little bit more. We need the muscle stimulus is super, super important. I really recommend and love the work of Deborah Atkinson. She's flipping 50. I don't know if you've talked to her or know who she
Wonderful.
is.
Yeah.
Yes. So she has some really great free videos on YouTube She has a podcast. So those are some really good. I recommend her programs to a lot of my clients, and I get awesome feedback. I did her programs, a number of different programs that she's got, because I joined her yearly program. And so I was able to do and I really increased my muscle mass, my strength, and improve my body composition. And it really not only those things are awesome, but there's also the crosstalk between your muscle and your bone. And so that's really important, because our bone mass, like half of postmenopausal women develop osteoporosis. So that, and then if we have a fall or something, break a hip, a lot of that, there's a huge decline in health after that. And it's not good. So everything that we can do to create a body armor so that we can protect ourselves for longevity. And only that, when supporting our muscle health also supports our brain health and supports our immunity. So there's so many different things. And probably one of the best things is mood and confidence, just feeling stronger. And there's a lot less focus on, because a lot of times we're down on how our body has changed in midlife. But when you put muscle on there, you're a little bit less, you're much more less, not a little bit, you're less focused on, I'm pudgy around this. It's more like, oh gosh, I've got these muscles.
Yeah. And I find it so interesting. One of my friends, Hannah Crum, the kombucha mama, she once pointed out that we look at the moon and we see all the craters and all the pits and all the damage that's been done to the moon. We go, oh, isn't it beautiful? And then we look at our bodies after we've lived this life and walked around on this earth and possibly had babies or had surgery or had all these other things, like our body is here for us. And we go, ugh, like, why do we do that? And I think we forget to be grateful. One of the things that I love to do, because of course my area is gut health, is I encourage people in the morning after you've brushed your teeth to put your hand in a little heart over your belly and just go, love my gut, love my belly, love my body. Because we love the skin that we're in.
Yes.
And then the other thing that I really want to discuss with you, because I think it's super important, is you talked about how many women potentially aren't getting enough good quality protein. So can we discuss that a minute?
Yes. So good quality protein. So personally for me, I'm an omnivore. So I use good quality animal-based proteins as my main source. And that's good meats and seafoods, eggs. I use like cultured dairy. I love cottage cheese, like good cultured cottage cheese is amazing. I love Greek yogurt, and I think I said eggs. And so those are like I use like canned wild salmon that's from Wild Planet. I love to use that. And you can get, the thing is, what's so important is there's studies about this. Dr. Donald Layman has studied muscle protein synthesis, and what he has found is we need 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine, which is an amino acid that you get from protein. When you have that, is super important to have to create muscle protein synthesis, which is important for building and maintaining and for repair of your muscle. And if you don't get that, then your body uses that protein for neurotransmitters and hormones and enzymes, all the cells in your body. You need protein, right? Yeah. Your immune system, for detoxification. Protein is so important, and we don't often get enough. And so I recommend people get at least 30 grams per meal and 3 meals a day. And so maybe even more if you're an athlete, and sometimes you might have to get 4 meals. if you're a supercharged athlete and you're doing more. So it's harder if you do it with plant foods, but it's possible. You have to use some calculators you can find, there's charts that have leucine content, but for example, one of the combinations is like black beans and rice, and that combination, 1 cup of each is only like 1.65 grams of leucine. So you almost need double of that amount. So that the unfortunate part is you might get too full, or it may not be good for your blood sugar management to have that much carbs at once. So you might have to supplement with amino acids. And also you can supplement with a pea rice protein powder kind of thing. I am a fan of using whey protein isolate, a really good quality for supplementation. I like to make a smoothie in the morning with that. And I'm really a big fan of having a good, robust amount of protein first thing in the morning. And personally, that is like one of my strategies for staying leaner. It keeps me full longer. It keeps me more satiated. And there's something about that has worked very well, like timelessly for me.
And it's so balancing for blood sugar too. Like I'm sure you've found this as well. When I'm working with clients who 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock seem to be like the two witching hours where they're ravenous, they're driven for junk food, like all these things happen. And typically when we back those up, it's because they skipped breakfast, which I don't recommend, or they didn't get enough protein at breakfast. And so they started that blood sugar roller coaster. And depending on their body type, those 2 times a day are when it generally tends to hit. And all of a sudden you're worn out.
Yeah, absolutely. You're totally right about that. Yeah.
And then on the other end of that, of course, because if we keep going back beyond breakfast, is sleep. I know you're a huge fan of good quality sleep to help support overall wellness. Can you talk about some of the strategies you share with people and why it's so important?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of the things that I struggled with the most when I was going through. Now what I realized was perimenopause to the menopause. I had no idea, but it was horrible. And in fact, this was before I got into nutritional therapy. And this is part of the story of me getting into nutritional therapy. But there's a couple of things that totally helped. One thing is, and Dr. Andrew Huberman of the Huberman Lab talks about this a lot, is like bright morning sun on your eyes first thing in the morning, like in the first 30 minutes. Or if you can't do that, one of the light therapies, like a Lux light, that you can look at in the morning. And so I've done both those things. Either like I go out either for a little bit of exercise or a walk in the first thing in the morning, or sit out with my little smoothie and have breakfast outside if it's warm. But I also have I've got a big light on my desk, but I also have a couple little small lights that I can put if I'm doing something else around the house. And that, whenever I waver from that habit, my sleep starts to waver. And so that really helps with the circadian rhythm. And then the other thing that really helps is the bright lights at night. Really turning down your screens, using blue blocker glasses, and just turning down all your lights in your house, and just really staying away from bright lights at night. So those 2 things. And then trying to do more calming type activities. Like even if my husband and I watch something that's a little intense, we'll usually almost always watch some funny cat videos or dog videos or something. Now we'll always do something. Yeah, we always do that. I'm a big fan of taking Epsom salt baths. If you can do that, that's really great. Do lose our melatonin is reduced as we age. And so I use a teeny tiny bit of, you have to really play around with the dosage, but I use a very small amount. If I use more than that, it doesn't work for me. I use a little bit of that. And I find that a little bit helpful. And there's like calming teas or some magnesium.
Yeah, I love like a valerian tea. I can't do
Yes.
chamomile because I'm allergic to ragweed.
Yes.
But something like a valerian tea or a linden tea is really lovely.
Mhm.
And I do want to back up just 1 second and share a note for anybody who's listening. I love your idea about being out in the morning. And for me, a lot of times I will go outside and weed in my vegetable garden because it's off my deck. And if you are someone who, like me, has blue light filters put on your eyeglasses, it needs to be without your glasses so
Uh,
that you can get the most benefit from the sun. Some will get in behind the frame, but if you have no glasses on, that's actually going to be better for you to be getting that that warm yellow light that's going to help with serotonin.
oh yeah, that's a really great tip. So yeah, I appreciate you adding that in there. Yeah, sometimes we have to mix things up and pull things because every once in a while something will come up and sleep is disrupted and we've got to pull out something else, try something else. So it's sometimes not doing the same old thing, bringing in something new, like you said, the tea or some magnesium. There's a calm. There's a drink called Calm.
Mhm.
I use that every once in a while, not that often, but I find that really helpful. I really love Vibrant Blue Oils has
Yes, I
sleep.
know. She's got some really great things. And I think one of the things that's so nice about it is you can make like a salve and use that,
Mhm.
or you can just use them aromatically. Have some really fabulous
Yeah,
blends. I'll put a link to that down below.
awesome.
Great
I
option.
think that
What's your
another
favorite
thing,
for sleep?
oh, she just has one called Sleep.
Because I like, there's one that she has a rose that I like a lot too. That's just, I don't know.
Oh, that's
Really
oh, I
soothing
love that
about
one.
that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that one is really nice. Um, oh, another thing that's really important is to eat dinner, to leave at least 3 hours, but minimally 2 hours, and you will get like a deeper sleep, which is really important from dinner to the
Yeah.
time that you go to bed. Sometimes people, if you're really hungry or you're having blood sugar issues like waking up at night, I also find it not very disruptive to have like a little bit of cottage cheese before bed. I do that on occasion. Like sometimes I'm like, I didn't eat enough food and I'm hungry. I don't want to go to bed hungry. I'll have cottage cheese and I don't find that disrupts my sleep. Everyone's different, but
Sure.
there are some studies that support the use of because of the casein in the cottage cheese, it can be helpful.
Oh, that's good. There's another, I also, Organifi has a really great turmeric gold beverage, and
Ooh.
it doesn't have, they use monk fruit, so it's not processed sugar.
Mhm.
And that with a little bit of almond milk or coconut milk is just like this warm, soothing beverage, but it's got like a little bit of a thickness to it that's just enough to be really soothing and calming as an evening beverage.
Oh, that's
I
great.
like
Thank you
that.
for, oh,
Yeah.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that
No,
out.
it's a great choice. And I think the other thing that I like about it is because of the turmeric, it's got that sort of adaptogenic support as well.
Mhm.
Wonderful.
Such a great anti-inflammatory. Yeah, that was one of the key things that helped me after a brain injury,
Mm,
and still after, now that I do a lot of training, it really helps with tamping down inflammation. So,
that's
yeah.
wonderful. Oh my gosh, Holly, this has been fabulous. We have touched on mind, body, and spirit. So many wonderful things. You've shared so many fabulous strategies. If people wanted to connect with you, either to learn more or to possibly work with you, how would they do that? Where would they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me at my website, which is nourishingexcellence.com. I'm on Instagram at nourishingholly. That's where I post most of my things. And I am available to take clients. And also, I'm working on a document for nutrition for 50 and over. And so it's an ebook, and I would like to have a few people just kind of use. I'd like a few people to, I would like them to contact me if they want to go through that ebook and give me some feedback. That's what I want. I want feedback.
So
And
you're looking for resource support so they can go
right.
through it. And that sounds great.
So they can send me an email at holly@nourishing-excellence.com. And I would love to get some feedback on this ebook I'm working on. I've been doing it for almost a couple of years, continuously updating it and tweaking it. And I've been working with it with clients.
Ready to be launched, it sounds like. So that's great. I'll be sure to put all the links down below. And again, thank you so much for being here and for sharing what you do and how you support women moving into this next most beautiful phase of their life. So I really appreciate you and the work that you do.
Oh, my honor. I'm so excited to share with you and your audience. And I appreciate you so much. You're such a gem to me. So I'm honored.
Thank you. And folks, thanks so much for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe so that you will be aware of all the wonderful things that we share on this channel. And I hope that you have a healthy day. Take care. Bye.